There we go.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. You're looking wild.
Yeah, I don't think we are able to get haircuts right now, so this is this is what I'm working with.
Yeah, no worries. I actually just got off a video conference with a bunch of people, and yeah, people are definitely feeling the woes of lack of barbershops, salons, eyebrow places, things like that. So,
Yeah,
how's it going?
it's been very hard. Definitely more obviously to worry about than our hair and our nails, but it's definitely been hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started because we only have an hour before Instagram cuts us off.
Okay.
Um, so if you want to introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay. My name's Richard Sparks. I'm a small business owner. I own a personal training gym in St. Matthews called Body Solutionz Personal Training. I am I'm basically the owner, of course, but I also am a personal trainer and I'm a coach. So I coach nutrition and stuff like that. I'm not a nutritionist. So let me get that disclaimer out of here. So everything I say is kind of suggestions. Okay. I just want to make sure I make that aware. But I am a certified personal trainer, so I am very educated in that field.
Okay. You said you owned a gym. I know that's just been, what, 2 years now that you've been doing that?
Yeah. Coming up in July, I'll actually be an owner for 2 whole years.
Wow, it's crazy that it's already gone that fast. So, why'd you decide to start a gym?
Well, funny thing is I've always wanted to be a business owner. Ever since I realized I was never going to become a professional athlete, I kind of realized when I got to the later stages of high school that football wasn't going to work for me. So I thought about what I'd want to do. And of course, being your own boss is a really cool thing. I got into personal training because I'm very passionate about health and fitness. And an opportunity presented itself. I had some money saved up and I mean, it was just all happened so fast. It wasn't my plan at the time. I thought I had a few more years to go. Opportunity arose. I took it and I ran with it, and we've been very successful.
Yeah. But it's been a couple of weeks now, I guess, since the governor ordered all the gyms to close. So how has that affected you and your ability to do your work?
Well, it's been very, it's been very hard. One thing that's very confusing is just all the government assistance that's out there right now, and the applying for it and all these things. And when are we going to get that assistance and everything like that? From my understanding, basically it's all loans. They're not helping us out. We're getting low interest loans with basically not being borrowed against. So, I mean, it is a phenomenal deal for us small businesses to be able to loan against pennies on the dollar. But, it's going to take a while, from my understanding, for that to really hit home. Now, as far as a business operation standpoint, we have gone online a lot. And we have a lot of clients who have stayed with us while being online. There are some that have froze their account because we are only just a strictly personal training facility. We don't do any classes. We don't do any just walk in whenever you want. It's all just one-on-one training. So it does give us advantages in the aspect that we can keep our clients on board with just one-on-one Skype sessions, Zoom, what we're doing right now, FaceTime. Whatever we could do to keep them focused and with the goals at hand.
Okay. And do you think your customers are finding that to be helpful to be able to do those like Zoom virtual sessions, or is it proving to be more difficult?
For sure. I mean, it's not ideal because I don't necessarily have a 360 view of the client like I prefer, but there's so many people that are using these times for an excuse. And, as a trainer, it's our job to overcome those things, so, we keep making sure that the customers or my clients are on time with their Skype sessions, working hard when they're not with me. They don't have a gym to go to. So I'm making sure that they're training at home. It's really just been a lot harder in the aspect of our clients just not knowing what to do because they're just used to me telling them what to do. So when they're away from me, I have to keep reminding them, hey, you can do stuff at home, stay active, just make sure that you are doing it in a manner that follows the CDC guidelines.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a good transition into my next question, which is what can we do at home to kind of stay motivated to work out? Because You know, I typically go to the gym, which is like a block away from my office, and I either join a class or I have an idea of what I'm going to do. Whereas when I'm at home all day, that motivation is just not the same.
Oh,
Uh,
I understand,
yeah.
and that's another tough thing that I've had to overcome. And to be honest with you, me myself, I find motivation in reminders. I've seen some funny stuff online where people are like hanging stuff in the fridge saying you're bored, you're not hungry. Really, you need to remind yourself why you started. And that's the big thing. Like, so many people, like I said, are using this as an excuse. And really, there is no excuse. You just got to keep reminding yourself how hard it was to get started. Like, I don't want to start way back over when this thing lifts. I don't want to be 20 pounds heavier when this thing lifts and it's time to go to the beach. And everybody's going to want to go outside. We've been cooped up
Yeah.
for so long already, and it don't look like it's going to be ending anytime soon. So with me, hang reminders. I remember when I lost a competition. We'll probably get into that a little bit later, but I remember I lost a competition. I'm a bodybuilder, and I remember hanging the third place medal in front of my face every single day. And I'm not saying that's your goal, but if your goal is to lose 20 pounds and look like you did in high school, or whatever it may be, find a way to get that in front of your face, whether that's putting it on the fridge, putting a picture on the TV. One good way that I got when I first got started into working out when I was at home, because I lived so far away from everybody, was if you find a favorite TV show and then during commercials, you do as many push-ups as you can do during those commercials. Next commercial, do as many sit-ups as you can do. Next commercial, do as many squats as you can do. This is kind of an example. And I know a lot of people now have Netflix and other things like that. They don't have the commercials, but get creative, get the family involved. Everybody's bored. Now's the time that you can really focus on what you're eating, what you're putting in your mouth, because the restaurants are not necessarily an option anymore as far as going out and sit down. And you're risking your life when you go out and you get takeout. I know you're helping the business, and that's great, but also, keep in mind your health goals, because your body doesn't recognize that, everything around you is really crazy right now, and it's not going to give you a break. Like, you still have to maintain everything that you've done and keep eating right and everything else, because your body's going to gain weight, especially if you're not moving and not being active.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, I think the reminder of why you're doing that is really important, because right now, at least for me, like, I'm not thinking about those things necessarily. Like, I'm not thinking about what is motivating me, or like what motivated me initially to just be healthy, to be able to, be toned and things like that. Maybe not necessarily even lose weight. Like, right now in my mind, the only thing is basically COVID-19, the quarantine. So to kind of remember way back when I had goals is a good idea.
Yep. And
Yeah.
remember, this is not just a physical thing. Like, your immune system is built by exercise and healthy eating. So, the people that are dying are the ones who are struggling to fight off the disease or the virus, right? So they usually have an underlying condition that's causing that issue. Well, heart disease is the biggest killer in the United States. And the biggest attribute of that is lack of exercise and unhealthy eating.
Right.
So if we're looking to stay healthy and fight off this disease or this virus, the best way to do it is to stay healthy. So, I know so many people get into exercise just for the physical changes, but you literally are what you eat. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. You are what you eat. Your body is made up of things that you've consumed. So with that being said, if you're really worried about COVID-19 and coronavirus in general, just everything that's going on right now, one of the best things you could possibly do is take care of your body.
Okay. So you mentioned immunity, and I want to keep talking about fitness specifically, but are there any like exercises that would help boost immunity, or is it, like you said, just generally doing exercise is important?
Just, general health or general exercise is the way to go. And it's going to be, that's so individualized based on your skill set. Like, I'm not going to have, a 60-year-old woman lifting weights over her head. I do believe that weight training has the best longevity to it as far as effectiveness, and then, keeping stuff off your joints and everything like that, or a lot of pressure on your joints like powerlifting would and stuff like that. But if you can get in 30 minutes of exercise, get your heart rate up for 30 minutes a day, that would work wonders. Whatever works best for you. If jogging works best for you, if, P90X works best for you, weight training, whatever it is. And that's another thing, if you don't have weights at home, lift a bag of potatoes, squat with your dog, lift your child over your head, play with them. You can get really creative. And there's a lot of people online who have these videos out right now, especially, and a lot of them are for free. And you can get creative with this and make a 30-minute workout very fun. Do it in the early morning, get it knocked out so you're not dreading it, and you're done for the day.
Right. And we have a comment that exercise is also great for fighting off depression, which I know a lot of people who are at home, and maybe even if they didn't have pre-existing mental health issues, they're definitely feeling it now, being stuck inside.
Correct. And, exercise releases dopamine in the body. It's a phenomenal thing. And what's a better booster than feeling and looking good? Feeling good about yourself, feeling that you have accomplished something. The one number of things that I'm worried about right now is the mental health issues, because, so many people that are just naturally very happy just seem so down right now. And it just goes to show you how much we took for granted. And, that's a very good point on who commented on that. Anything you can do to lift up your spirits. And a great way to do that is exercise.
Right. So we had another question. I'm going to see if I can pin it. Can you see that?
Let me get my eyes on.
Oh, okay. So the question is, what's the best type of exercises to be doing, and kind of breaking it down further? Like, do you have any recommendations for people who typically didn't exercise and now find that they have a little bit more time to exercise, or if they want to get outside and still maintain social distancing, where would that person start versus somebody who already had a pretty strict or typical workout regimen, but they can't go to the gym? So can you kind of talk about what are good exercises to do and where are good places to start for different types of people?
Yeah, for beginners, I would start with the basics. And, to kind of keep it simplified, think back to your physical education days in school. What did we do? We did push-ups, we did squats, we did jumping jacks, we did sit-ups, we did all those basic things. And if you're starting back up, that's a good starting point. Gradually add weight. You can put weights in your hands. Bands are amazing for this, and you can get them relatively cheap online. You can probably get a whole set of bands that have different resistance levels for $30. And then every single one of them comes with either a disc or like a poster that shows you the exercises. You could do a complete total body workout with bands and hit every major muscle group in your body. There's not just one set exercise that would necessarily be, the greatest. If I had to choose one, I would say make sure that you get your legs involved, just because they have the largest muscles in your body, and they'll burn the most calories. But it is very subjective, but there's so many different ways we can go about this, but it is definitely individualized. Obviously they're asking, what types of exercise. I would have to know so much more detail about you as a person. But, just get your heart rate up and work hard for 30 minutes, and you'll be amazed at what you get from that.
So, I have a Fitbit that tells me, what my resting heart rate is. And then, so I kind of know what is getting my heart rate up. If somebody doesn't have like an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, what's kind of like a good sense of knowing if your heart rate's up?
That's a very good question. If you have trouble speaking, so when you get tired, you're starting to go, and you're like, man, that's when your heart rate is getting very high, normally. Okay. That would be a perfect range to come in and out of. My heart rate, I like to keep my heart rate between 120 and 130 during exercise. Of course, that's going to be subjective to the person itself, but to really know when your heart rate is up is, once again, you're having troubles talking, just like we're talking right now. If I'm having problems speaking, so I'm tired, you're doing well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and I have probably not been doing as much like regular exercise like I usually do. Like even just like squats and lifting weights, but I've been walking a lot more because I can go to the high school down the road and they have a gigantic empty parking lot, and like areas where I can walk, and even if there's other people there, I can avoid them. So are there any good exercises that I can do when I'm just like out enjoying nature that like allow me to do exercise, but maybe not quite, like I'm not quite there to like the point of lifting weights again, or doing more difficult exercises?
Yeah, walking at an incline, walking up a hill. That's a great example. A jog through through trails is a great idea. Power walking. It's so funny because when I was growing up, I remember you seeing so many people power walk, and I just don't see that anymore. Power walking burns about as many calories as jogging does. So many people don't know that. Another one that's phenomenal that a lot of people don't think about is jumping rope. Jumping rope burns more calories than swimming does.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
It's on par with wind sprints. So sprinting and jumping rope are basically the two best ways to burn calories. Well, calories, that's when we burn calories, we lose weight. Calories in to calories out. So how cheap is a jump rope? You can get a phenomenal one, like the top of the line ones for $30. One you could probably pick up at Walmart or any of those places that are still open, social distancing, remember, you can probably get for $6 or $7, and it will burn more calories than anything else you'll do. And it's fun. You can get your kids involved, get them a jump rope. It's just one of those exercises that stood the test of time.
Right. Yeah. You could probably dust one off from the garage or your basement, because I feel like most people have jump ropes. They just don't know where it is.
Yes, they have to do some digging. As a matter
Yeah.
of fact, I think I have to do some digging because I have no idea where mine's at. It's probably buried under some equipment or something.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely going to find mine because I didn't realize that it burns so many calories. And it's, like it's not just a challenge of exercise, but there's also like a fun factor of like, can you maintain it? Can you do tricks with it? Things like that, things that you would do when you were a kid.
Exactly, and the time flies by. And that's what a thing that a lot of people have problems with exercising is because they'll look online, and we'll go into this a little bit later on what you should do when you start up, but pick exercises that are fun for you. If you have problems doing it the first day, if you don't like doing it the first day or the second day or the third day, are you going to maintain that for a long period of time and turn that into a lifestyle? You're not. I mean, you won't. I mean, it's just like with dieting. So many people get into dieting and they do the chicken and broccoli and rice only, or chicken, broccoli, and potatoes only. Sometimes they cut out the potatoes because they hear keto's the best thing. If you cannot sustain it, it's not a lifestyle change. You're gonna do it for a little bit, you're gonna look great, and then you're gonna convert back. It happens every time. So find the exercises that you enjoy. If you enjoy jumping rope, that should be your cardio. If you enjoy jumping jacks, that should be another great form of cardio. If you like, getting out in nature, running the trails, like we've talked about. A client of mine yesterday said how she hasn't sprinted for a while, and she used to be a sprinter back in high school. She got out on the track all by herself, social distancing, and ran sprints, and it wore her out. But once again, like we just said, sprints is one of the best ways to burn calories. Right. Make sure you stretch before. Don't need to pull a hammy. But yeah, so I mean, just do the things that, do things that are going to be fun for you. That way you can not only maintain it through this time, but continue to maintain it throughout.
Right. And do you do consultations on people who, for example, might be looking to get some information on where to start, and like, maybe they're not looking for personal training long term, but they just need a consultation on kind of where to start?
Yeah, so there's other coaches that do it too, but I do my general health coaching monthly is just $39.95, and you can cancel anytime. It does have a one-time startup charge. But something like that is something I wish I would have done when I first started out, because at the time, I didn't understand body types. I didn't understand like underlying issues like stress, anxiety, depression, gut health. There's so many underlying issues that when you're going online and you're reading an article, they don't know nothing about you. They can't tell you what to do for exercises or anything like that because they don't know who they're speaking to. They're speaking to the general population. So to get started, I would definitely look into getting a coach, somebody that can do it from afar. You don't have to necessarily do the one-on-one training. You can tell them, hey, I have a jump rope and a set of kettlebells, and a good coach will be able to make you a program with that. Right. And there's tons of coaches, especially in Louisville. Shop local. Okay, don't go on Instagram, find the fitness model that is genetically gifted and hire them. There's phenomenal coaches here locally. I have the pleasure of working with a few of them, or I have had the pleasure of working with a few of them. But coaching is relatively inexpensive for general health. Invest in your health. So many people are willing to go out and spend $100 for a family eat out, but they won't spend $50 for a coach to make sure that they're staying on task with their goals and they have a program that's going to work for them for long term and health and everything else.
Right. Well, I think that's a good transition into talking a little bit about nutrition. I know you're not a nutritionist, but I think it's important to note that the nutrition and fitness piece really have to move hand in hand, regardless, I guess, of your body type and things like that.
Correct. A lot of people say diet is 80% of it, and exercise the other 20. And if anything, it's even higher than 80. I remember when I first started out, I was kind of eating healthy, but I was eating too much of healthy. In other words, like too much peanut butter, too many eggs, too much everything. At the end of the day, it's calories in to calories out. So you can be working out all you want. And if you consume too much food, you're going to gain weight. And in this situation, especially now, you need to eat healthy. And, our immune system is built through digestion of healthy things. Like more directly, vitamin D, vitamin C, and zinc. Them are three things that help boost the immune system. Okay? Remember, these are just suggestions. Okay?
Yes.
So vitamin D, and this kind of comes back to working out outside. This is great. So vitamin D you can get from the sun. At 11 o'clock, when the sun's nice and bright outside, go out and do a jog. You're knocking out two birds with one stone. You're building up vitamin D, and you're getting exercise. Consumption of vitamin D is also through dairy. You can get it through fish oils and fatty fish. Zinc you can get through lentils, seeds, nuts, fish oils, once again, fatty fish, red meat, if you prefer red meat. And then vitamin C is one of the easiest ones to get. You can, obviously all these you can take through a multivitamin, but vitamin C is so easy to get. You can get through broccoli. You can get through orange juice, oranges, any type of citrusy drink, or fruit, for instance. Strawberries has tons. Now, strawberries are phenomenal. Anything ends in berries. Like if you guys want to know something that's great about fruit, if it ends in berries, eat it. Okay, because that's antioxidants in it, and most of them have vitamin C in it, high amounts of vitamin C, which once again we're trying to build our immune systems right now. Those three things, you can find a way to boost those three things. It's going to help with your immune system, especially in a time like this. And even if the coronavirus was not going around right now, it is flu season. So, either way, you should be eating your fruits and vegetables. It was kind of flabbergasting seeing everybody piling up on the toilet paper instead of the broccoli, but that's just my 2 cents on where are we going. I don't know, but yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, I think I've eaten more broccoli recently than I have maybe ever before, because it is a pretty good like salad ingredient. It has that additional crunch, even if it's gross tasting.
And one thing good too, it's high in fiber, so your blood glucose is not going to rise, and it's going to make you feel fuller longer. Which, what are we doing right now? We're sitting there looking at the clock. We're looking outside, wishing we were out there. We're looking in our refrigerators consistently. So one way to curb that is to eat stuff that's going to make you feel full. One thing I want to throw in there real quick too is drink a lot of water at this time. So many people mistake hunger for thirst. There we go. I don't have any, but but so many people mistake hunger for thirst. Like, you know, if anybody's watching this right now and they think they're hungry, think about the last time you had a nice glass of water. You know, drink a full glass of water, wait 10 minutes and see if you're still hungry. You'd be shocked at how many times you're not.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the questions that I had for you is like, how do I stop snacking constantly? Which I think you kind of answered that, which is drink water, and then if you do have to eat some of those like more healthy things like strawberries or broccoli.
Yeah, and that kind of bridges me right into this. Is I wanted to definitely touch on this. Most time you have cravings because you're deficient in something. You know, deficient in a certain vitamin or mineral. Okay, your macronutrients and your micronutrients. So if you're deficient in any one of those, you can start craving things. You know that when I heavy diet, that's the thing that happens. Like anybody that's been through a strenuous diet, they start craving things, and sometimes not even things that they want, but it's just, you know, if you're lacking in certain things, you start craving salts or whatever it may be. And sometimes it has nothing to do with salt. It has something to do with a vitamin or mineral that you're not getting.
Right. You mentioned micro and macronutrients. Can you tell us what those are?
Oh, easy. So micronutrients is like your vitamins and minerals, okay, which we spoke on. So many people get these confused. Your macronutrients is the stuff that you consume that aid in tissue to your body and function. So fats, protein, and carbs. That's your three major macronutrients. So whenever you hear the term, so many people hear these terms, what's your macros, or do you have your macros set up? That's what they mean. Like how much of your diet is coming from fats, how much of your diet is coming from protein, and then how much of your diet is coming from carbs. That's the macronutrients. And then once again, the micronutrients is your vitamins and minerals.
Okay. And then how would somebody decide like kind of what they need in terms of macros and micros? Because presumably you need both.
Yeah. So once again, calories. Okay. So macronutrients make up your calories. So your calories based on your goals, if you're wanting to gain weight or lose weight, which majority of us probably want to lose weight. I mean, just to be honest. You want to make sure that your macronutrients total of calories is lower than what you expend each day. And that's where it's so imperative at this time, because we're sitting around way too much. Even if we are exercising, majority of us are not moving around like we normally have because of our jobs or whatever it may be. So you could probably guess pretty low in your macros right now. If anybody's wanting to find their macros, Google the Harris-Benedict formula calculator. Enter your information in, and it will tell you your macros. And that's your total calorie macros, not your individualized macros. If you want them individualized, you have to get a coach, or you can look it up online. But that's so subjective. I recommend a coach. But they're going to give you a calorie baseline. Like how much calories that you would burn just by sitting in bed all day, which is what most of us are doing. And then based on your normal day activity. So say if my normal activity is 2,100 calories burned per day by me just sitting down. I'm a 190-pound male at 5'8". Okay. So if I rested all day, I laid in bed and rested all day, I'll probably burn 1,900 calories just at rest. So that means if I wanted to stay at maintenance, I would eat 1,900 calories exactly. If I wanted to lose weight, I would eat underneath there. If I wanted to gain weight, I'll eat over there, if that helps any.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, and like in terms of the micro versus macro and looking at it with calories, like, is it mostly that macro calories are going to make you feel fuller longer and therefore you can eat fewer calories? Or am I looking at it incorrectly?
Run that by me one more time. I want to make sure I understand the question.
Sure. So you said like your macro and micronutrients should be based on like the number of calories you eat during the day. And is that split evenly then? And say like you want to lose weight, so you're eating fewer calories. Should you be eating fewer macro calories because they, I guess are fats, or should you be eating fewer micro calories because they don't keep you full as long? Or
So
am I just like wrong on all
no,
of
you're
that?
fine. I'll kind of somewhat correct you in a little bit of a way. Micros do not have calories in them. Okay, only
Okay.
macros do. So your micronutrients stay the same. Now if your body demands are very strenuous, obviously, like you're an athlete, you're probably going to need more certain vitamins and minerals. Okay, but the calories is what comes from macronutrients. So your body uses two things for fuel, actually three things. It prefers glucose, which is kind of the converted form of carbohydrates. Okay, that's what it prefers. So if it don't have that available, it'll run off fat. If you don't have fat, it'll run off your amino acids, which is your protein. Okay, that's the three fuel sources that you have. Now, that's why I always suggest, once again, I'm not a nutritionist, but I suggest high protein and then low carb and low fat, because your fats and your carbs is what your body wants to use for fuel. So if we're trying to lose weight, then what we need to do is figure out a way to get my body to run on its fat stores. Well, how do we do that? We lower our energy. Okay, because fat is just stored energy. A lot of people don't realize that fat is your stored energy source. Okay, so if we lower the carbohydrates, which our body prefers for energy, and we lower our fats, we're kind of forcing our body to run off our fat stores. We keep our protein high, the amino acids high, to make sure that our body's muscle does not get used for fuel, which is the amino acids. Does that make sense?
Right.
Protein is less likely to be stored as fat, which is very imperative to listen to, because you can eat a lot of protein and not gain very much fat. About 90% of the protein in the body is utilized. The other 10% either gets stored as fat or it goes out as waste. So it's one of the only macronutrients that you could eat a decent amount of and not have to worry about gaining at the hips.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Although it again seems like it would be helpful to have like you coaching someone through it, especially as they're getting started and having understanding of like what they would eat anyway and how much they're exercising and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I really wish I would have had a coach at the beginning. A lot of people don't know this. Some people might. When I first started my journey, I was 235 pounds and I was not muscular. I probably had 140 pounds of lean muscle mass, if that tells you anything. I was just extremely overweight. And, it took me so long to get to where I wanted to be because, like most people, I didn't want to pay for anything. I wanted to go online, look up all these different things. And, none of those things are going to be tailored to me. So, it's hard to figure out and understand everything when it's not catered to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Body types, stress level. We just talked about this. Stress levels, digestion issues. Stress is a killer. I mean, stress can eliminate a lot of things. I know a lot of people are stressed right now, especially small business owners like myself,
Yeah.
nurses, people who are considered essential that are risking their lives every day. These people are underneath a high amount of stress. These are things that you're just not going to be able to find on an online brochure. It's stuff that you have to have somebody who understands it, listen to you speak. I think when I want to say if somebody signs up with me, they have to answer, I think it's a minimum of 110 questions.
Oh well.
That's just a start. I don't even accept you until after I do that questionnaire, because if somebody has so many underlying issues, I might just refer them to a doctor. There's just so much more that goes into it than just picking up some weights and eating some broccoli.
Well, you mentioned stress and what a big factor that is in people's ability to be healthy. Like I see a lot of people who are kind of like, I guess, giving themselves a break, and I think that's important. But like, how do you find that balance of like giving yourself like an emotional break, because we're all living in incredibly stressful times, but still maintaining your health and not like, just how do you find that balance? Because most of us are not looking to be necessarily like a bodybuilder. We just want to maintain healthy, but like I still want my ice cream.
Yeah, I understand.
Or I need my ice
Um,
cream.
so a lot of people don't realize this, but even though lifting and exercise and stuff like that, it releases dopamine in the body, but however, it is a stressor. So, your body releases cortisol for any type of stressor, whether it be exercise, whether it be, your kids are driving you up the wall, your boss is driving you nuts, you lost your job, whatever it may be. Your body can only handle a certain amount of stress before it starts to shut down. It's just one of those things that you have to kind of assess where you're at before you can actually, I think a better way of saying it is your body will tell you if it's exhausted. Like if you're training too hard, it'll tell you you're exhausted. But mentally, you have to really just take everything in and realize, hey, do I need a week off to de-stress? And whatever that stressor is, whether that be too much exercise, whether it be, your job. I know that's kind of hard to do, it seems nowadays, just take a day off for you. You feel like you have to have the flu or something crazy in order to take a day off. You have to take some me time. The ways of doing a lot of de-stressing, is meditation. There's a lot of over-the-counter things. I'm a big advocate of CBD oil. And, I know that's kind of controversial in a way, but it is legal. But, CBD oil handles my stress so much better than anything else that I have. And it doesn't make me drowsy. But you have to get to the underlying source. You have to really analyze your life and what is stressing you. If you're, toxic relationships is another one that just popped in my head. So your body can only handle a certain amount of stress before you feel like you're going to shut down. Once again, and also if it's one of those things that you just feel like you need a break, take a break. So many people are like, oh, the gym shut down, I'm going to lose. I had somebody on my feed said that they lost 3 pounds of muscle in 2 days. I mean, that's not how it works. Take some time off if you need it. Like you'll know if your mind keeps telling you take a break, then do it. Okay. Take a week off, reset, set your plan for the following Monday, and then get back to it.
Yeah, that's great advice, because I think a lot of people feel guilty about taking a break, but if you don't listen to your body, you're probably you're going to end up worse than wherever you started or whatever stress you started with to begin with.
So, and it's funny that you mentioned that because, one of my good friends is one of the best bodybuilders in the world. I mean, he's number 2 in the world, and he takes almost an entire season off from training. Wow. An entire season. So we're talking winter, fall. We're talking about probably 3 months. And he has one of the best physiques in the world because he understands the importance of rest and recovery. And it's not just physical, because most of the people that are watching in right now are not bodybuilders. We're talking about mental. Like whatever you need, to get back to, the baseline to start back over is what you need to do, whether it be taking weeks off from the gym, breaking up with that person, getting that friend out of your life that keeps doing whatever to stress you out. I don't suggest putting your kid up for adoption, but maybe figure that out a different way. But yeah, I mean, removing the stressors in your life is imperative. And if exercise is one of them, don't remove it entirely, but take a week off and reassess. And that goes back to once again, making it enjoyable. Like if it's fun for you, it's going to be probably less of a stress on your mind. Another thing I thought is good, I think is a good idea, is do it in the morning when your mind is clear and you get it out of the way. Like some people just hate working out, regardless of what you do, so you might be one of them actually. So some people just hate working out. They hate it. And they work out because they know it's great for them and they know it's going to make them live longer. If you can get it done in the morning and get it out of the way, so many people do better on that because your stress level stays down. You wake up and before you even stress about it, it's already done.
Right.
You go take care of your work, you go home, eat dinner, go to sleep. When you wake up, you might stress for 5 seconds. As soon as you start working out, it goes away. We all know this. As soon as the thing is getting there, getting to the gym or getting to the weights. You know, of course, right now everybody's at home, but as soon as it's out of the way, it's like a big weight is lifted off our shoulders. And once again, it releases dopamine. So then you get happy, and it was
Right.
worth it.
Yeah. It's opposite for me because to me, if I work out like at the end of the day, like it's my transition into not thinking about work, you
Yep,
know, where it's like my mind is clear because my body hates me and I'm like sore and tired and like that overtakes my mind than all of the things that I need to do.
exactly. Like I
Yeah.
said, you could put your workout wherever it's most beneficial. I like to work out in the fed state, which means after I eat. But some people do really well fasted. I mean, training. I suggest an intra-workout drink like a Gatorade or something a little bit maybe lighter, like a G2 or something maybe a little bit lighter than that, like EAAs. But you know, whatever you need to do to make it fit your life, and that's where once again another coach aspect comes in. You know, that's one of the questions I have in my questionnaire is what time of the day works best for you? Because when we design meal plans for your life, we want to make sure that you're able to adhere to not only the food but also to the workouts.
Right. Okay. And you're talking about stressors and people who have kids. One thing I've noticed on my like Instagram stories is a lot of people are now like going out with their kids to like parks and stuff, mostly social distancing. There's a few of them that still aren't, but like for the most part, people are going where they can be away from people, but just let their kids out and run, which I didn't see a lot of that before. So it seems like people are kind of using this time to like get out and get some exercise, even if it's not necessarily like the most rigorous exercise.
Yeah, and they have a thing called neat calories, and that's your non-exercise calories. That's like just what you do throughout your normal day. Like, obviously construction workers' neat calories will be a lot more strenuous than say yours because you're at a desk. Okay, so once again, being active in any way is going to be far more beneficial than just staring at a TV all day. Now, the problem is we can't all obviously go to the park right now and hang out because then social distancing is a big factor. But if you could get out early, go to the park, once like we've talked about, open field. There's ways of going about it where you can get your calories burned or get your heart health going, your lung health, everything comes from exercise without necessarily picking up a dumbbell and doing 5 curls. There's so many different ways to skin a cat. A bicycle ride's phenomenal. I see so many people, so many families out right now riding bicycles. Skateboards, I see them a lot. Rollerblades. I mean, so it kind of feels like the '90s in a way. It's kind of coming back. But it's not necessarily just the strenuous training regimen of something. It could be so many different things, so many different ways.
Right. I've been seeing a lot of challenges like on like YouTube and Instagram where it's like a certain number of like one exercise, like you tag people. I think I tagged you in one. But like on YouTube, I've been seeing like, it's like a 10-minute ab workout. And if you do this for 10 minutes over the course of like, 3 weeks or a month, like you're going to have like a 6-pack or you're going to lose belly fat. So can you kind of comment on what you think about like just doing like one type of exercise or just targeting one part of your body over the course of like a certain period of time?
Yeah, so I'm gonna blow a lot of people's minds right now. You will get a 6-pack faster by squatting than you will doing sit-ups. Okay, now let me explain. So to reveal your stomach, everybody has a 6-pack or something of that nature. Okay, the key is to revealing it. So how do we reveal it? It's calories in to calories out, right? So one way to burn a lot of calories is a squat. Okay, you're using all the legs in your muscle, which take up glycogen, which is the storage form of glucose, which is carbs. It burns up a lot of glycogen, a ton of it. So if I'm trying to burn a lot of calories, carbs are calories.
Right.
So squatting burns a lot of calories. Same way with jumping rope. Jumping rope's going to reveal a six-pack faster than an ab workout because it just burns more calories. The thing that's hiding your abdomen is fat. So that's the way of doing it. And that's a terrible idea. And I believe, I might be wrong on this, but I believe they almost got sued for it because they're like, just 6 minutes a day of this ab workout and you'll have a six-pack by like 3 months. And the stuff, how it goes. The best way to reveal your body in any form, whether it be abs, chest, back, however you want to do it, is a total body workout. Like if you burn all the calories that are taking up the muscle tissue, which is glucose, then you will look leaner. It's proven over time. It always works, especially for beginners. I suggest like a split routine for later for people who are really focusing on building shape to their body and aesthetics, but never go with those programs. Now, one thing I believe is very healthy is the people that are doing the challenges. However, I will correct them on this. A lot of my people or my friends in the fitness community, they are telling people that are already in the fitness community, do 10 push-ups, do 50 push-ups, do whatever. How about we start challenging those who are trying to get healthy, like the people who are just starting up or the people who are not even doing anything right now. Challenge them, get them involved, because I'm going to work out. You don't need to challenge me for 50 sit-ups or 50 push-ups on Instagram right now. I'm fine. I'm good. Trust me. Where's somebody that, maybe is just looking for somebody to give them that nudge. Hey, I know you don't normally work out, but hey, how about you do 10 sit-ups for me or 10 push-ups? I'm challenging you to 10 sit-ups. Then that person challenges somebody else. And then all of a sudden we're becoming healthier. So I believe that's a phenomenal way to get more people involved, get more people healthy. The challenges are very, very good, but stay away from the programs that are one size fit all. Especially if it's one body part, they're not going to work.
Right. Okay. So having been to like boot camps that you've run before, I know one of the things that you always mention is the muscle mind connection. So
Yes.
Can you tell us what that is and like how do you know when you've made that connection?
So the biggest factor is knowing what muscle you're training. So like if I'm doing a bicep curl, I know obviously I'm working my biceps. So I put my mind there. I put all my concentration on the contraction of that arm. Okay. That's where coaching also comes into factor because, if I tell you to do 15 pull-ups and you just use your arms to pull yourself up every time, you're not using your back, then that muscle mind connection is not there. Now, if I come up and I touch your back and I'm like, that's the muscle I want you to train. You put your mind there, focus on getting that contraction there, and you will build shape to your body. Jason Theobald, which is a guy from Florence, Kentucky, he said something I really love. He's like, my physique changed when I focused on, instead of moving the weight, to exhausting the muscle. There's a huge difference there. So many people think about getting and this is something that I've used even before I heard that, instead of worrying about moving the weight from point A to point B, focus on what's going on between A and B. That's where you'll get better, regardless of what it is. So you're squeezing, you're contracting, you're thinking about the muscle you're working, and that will shape your body. And it takes it sounds so simple, but when you get tired, that mental focus goes away. It's something that after years, it sometimes takes years to really be able to do well. Some could do it faster and they build their shape better. But if you can get that connection and know what muscle you're working every time and really focus your mind there, it will change your physique fast. Shape to your body will be amazing.
Right. Okay. So I'm just looking through my questions here. see. And we only have about 8 minutes left before we get booted. So for people who are kind of starting out and don't have necessarily a ton of equipment and don't have the money to like afford maybe like bands or anything right now, what would you recommend generally is like a good starting off point if you can't do like weights and things like that?
It would go back to the PE thing. You know, it don't cost you anything to go jog. It don't cost you anything to go run bases at a baseball field. It don't cost you anything to do a push-up on your knees or a push-up off your knees. If you live in an apartment complex, it costs you nothing to walk up and down the stairs. These are simple things that burn a lot of calories. Once again, to go back to the jump rope, $7. I mean, it's cheap and you could do it. Swimming, I don't know if there's going to be any swimming pools open anytime in the near future, but if you have access to any type of lake or stream or something like that, it's starting to get nice out, that would be an opportunity. There's so many different ways of burning calories. If you just Googled body weight exercises, do 3 rounds of 25, whatever it is, 3 rounds of 25 squats, 3 rounds of 25 sit-ups, 3 rounds of 25 push-ups, push-ups on your knees if you need to. These are things that add up. It'll change your body as long as you're eating healthy, like we've already talked about. And it'll build your immune system, which is obviously a big factor right now. It should be a big factor anyway. When I really started focusing on my health, I think I get sick with the man flu, which is very strenuous, by the way, about once, maybe a year. Like I never worry about getting sick. I remember one job I had perfect attendance 3 years in a row. Ask my clients how many times a day or how many times a week I miss. It doesn't happen. I just don't get sick. And a lot of it's because I eat healthy. It's not just because I'm going to try to win a national bodybuilding show. I started lifting weights and getting healthy because I wanted to look better and feel better about myself. Once again, I mental health, I battled depression. I remember I looked at a family vid. This is actually the tipping point for me is I went back home for a family reunion and we had a family photo. It took me 1 minute to find myself in that photo. I did not even recognize myself because I'd gained so much weight. Like I literally had to go, like we have a big family, so it sounds a little bit worse when but so we had about 18 people in the photo and I literally had to go from face to face. Like, nope, that's not you. That's not you. Because I knew I was in the photo. And that changed my life. I was like, I can't believe I look like that. And it made me sad. It made me depressed. And I knew from then, I had to change my life. And it's not, I got into bodybuilding after I had already reached the goals of getting healthy. Bodybuilding was a part of, okay, I built this. Now I want to display it, hopefully motivate somebody else. I'm very competitive. That's another reason. But, I do it a lot for my clients and my friends and my family, to show them what people are capable of if they put their mind to something. You don't have to get on a bodybuilding stage to get healthy. One of my clients asked me, she was having problems staying motivated. And I was like, well, you want to be able to watch your grandson grow up? Well, yeah. Well, obesity kills more people than anything. I mean, heart disease is caused by mostly obesity, So, if you lose 30, 40 pounds, you might be able to see your grandson graduate. If you don't, based on the statistics, there's no chance.
Right.
I mean, stuff like that is, and this kind of goes back to the motivation thing, find your why and keep it in front of you. If your why is to live longer, if your why is to be first place at a bodybuilding show, if your why is to help with your mental health, keep that in front of you because you'll forget. And, the times that are getting tough, you'll forget, that pizza sounds good. But when you put it in perspective, like, hey, is this pizza worth, you have to be able to find your why and keep it in front of you and keep motivated with it.
All right. And so we only have about 3 minutes left. So can you comment on like where people can start with nutrition, since we've talked about where to start with fitness, kind of where to start with nutrition as well?
Yeah, if you're going to do it on your own, once again, go to the Harris-Benedict equation. That will give you a good baseline, and you can goal set from there. If you want to gain weight, you can add calories to it. If you want to lose weight, you take calories down. Just Google healthy foods. That's another good way of doing things. A well-balanced diet. I always tell people to not overthink things. If it's something that you don't want the stress of it, just fill half your plate with vegetables, 1/4 a plate of protein, 1/4 a plate of carbs. If you don't know what carbs are, look it up. This is where I come back to, I suggest hiring a coach, because all these answers can be given to you and explained to you. You don't have to have them for the rest of your life. I tell all my clients, I don't want you to have to pay me for the rest of your life. My goal is to change your life. And you can continue on without me, and then hopefully as you kind of graduate, the person comes in behind you. And that's how I'm going to make my living, is the person behind you, keep filtering you guys through and making better decisions. I suggest hiring a coach. It all comes down to that. A general health coach. You don't need a contest prep coach. You don't need a coach that's trying to get you beach ready. Just a general nutrition coach. I do it. I know there's tons of people in the area. Anybody listening in, you could give me your goal, and I can tell you if I can help you. But I would definitely suggest hiring a coach, because everything can be catered to you if you can afford one. If you can't, take the time to do the research. That's what I did. Now, I could afford one, but I was just too stubborn. I thought I was a know-it-all, and so everything I was Googled, and it took me forever to get to where I wanted to be. But if you can't afford a coach, just do your research. Do research with reputable places. Like, if the study is from Stanford, that's probably a good study. If it's from Vegan's Digest and they're saying that red meat's bad for you, it's probably nothing that you want to read. It's definitely biased. I'm gonna give you a hint.
Yeah.
So it's you want to make sure that you do your research, but make sure the research is coming from a source that's not biased or has hidden agendas.
Okay. Well, we're about to get cut off, so thank you very much. That was incredibly informative, and I'll make sure to link you so that people know how to get in touch with you if they want to hire you as a coach.
Yep. bodysolutionz.com is the website. You can Google me and look at my reviews. We have over 20 perfect reviews there. Obviously, you can inbox me on Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, all.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.